Oh, hi. I'm a smart investor. I dare say that because I understand the cryptocurrency markets and I am up to date on every new development, fintech and blockchain ecosystem. All because I watch the Inside Blockchain show on Cryptotvplus. Every Monday morning, Cryptotvplus brings you news headlines of top stories, interview with an expert, and give you detailed market analysis to enable you make the right business moves. Now you too can become a smart investor if you don't miss it. The Inside Blockchain show, only on Cryptotvplus.
Are you there? It's your boy. No, sorry, it's your daddy, Mr. Macaroni. Keep watching Cryptotvplus if you want to be doing well, especially. You get me now? Alright, you're doing well.
The battle between the largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, and the third largest cryptocurrency exchange, the FTX, came in as a shock to the crypto community and has brought in another level of FUD across the crypto space, especially when the market, is just trying to stabilize from Terra, Luna, Voyager, and the Celsius network crisis, and has certainly stirred up the direction of our conversation today. Hello and welcome to the program. This is Inside Blockchain Live on Cryptotvplus. My name is Faith Ekuerhare. It's another Monday morning. Now, before we kickstart the conversation, if this is your first time on the show, do well to follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Cryptotvplus. Click on the bell icon to stay updated whenever we release a new video. The entire fiasco between FTX and Binance started when the CEO of Binance, CZ, tweeted on the 6th of November that Binance had decided to sell off all its FTT holdings. Now, so you know, FTT is the native token of FTX. Now, this is what CZ said. Liquidating our FTT is just post-exit risk management, learning from Luna. We gave support before, but we won't pretend to make love after divorce. We are not against anyone, but we won't support people who lobby against other industry players behind their backs. Following this statement, FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried came out to assure customers that assets were intact and that the competitor just wanted to spread false rumors. Now, the face-off didn't end there as CZ went out to make a couple of tweets with evidence that over 22 million FTT's holdings have been transferred back to Binance. Now, did this allegation come out from thin air? No, it didn't. FTX liquidity grew following a leaked balance sheet of Alameda Research, a sister crypto trading firm of FTX. According to the sheet, Alameda holds $14.6 billion in assets and $8 billion in liabilities and around $7.4 billion in loans, now all in FTT tokens. However, the bone of contention is that the FTT token has zero utility and will become an illiquid asset, that is, an asset that cannot easily and readily be sold or exchanged for cash without a substantial loss in value, which can precipitate a negative crisis akin to the Terra Luna crash. Now, in the midst of the heated tension from the crypto giants, the crypto community received another shock as CZ announced the acquisition of FTX by Binance and purchased the firm on November 8. So CZ tweeted, "This afternoon, FTX asked for our help. There's a significant liquidity crunch to protect users. We signed a non-binding letter of intent, intending to fully acquire FTX.com and help cover the liquidity crunch. We'll be conducting a full due diligence in the coming days." Now, several cryptocurrencies jumped on the news. Affected by the news of Binance acquisition of FTX, BNB rose to $370, an increase of 12% in 1 hour. FTT rose to a maximum of $22, an increase of 37% in 1 hour. Bitcoin bounces back to $20,000 and Ethereum to $1,535. Now, just 2 hours after the crypto market pumped, we experienced a sudden plummet with Bitcoin at $16,000, Solana at $14, and a general market dump. So despite the good intentions of CZ to place the user first and avoid any crisis that can cause the market to hit another rock bottom, we can't help but wonder if this was just another strategic move of this big whale to enlarge its territories and gain more power in the crypto community. Is this good for the crypto community? How does this affect the crypto community? How decentralized is the crypto community moving forward? This has certainly steered up the direction of our conversation today, and we'll be discussing this and more on today's episode of the Inside Blockchain Show. Now, before I introduce my guest, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we will get into the conversation. We'll be right back.
Searching for target. Target found.
Hey guys, welcome into the metaverse on Cryptotvplus. In today's video, we're going to be taking a portal into the Robo Hero metaverse. Let's go Robo! Robo Hero is the first play-to-earn mobile game with a metaverse built on the Terra network, where gamers can have a good virtual experience while making money. It was developed by 3 blockchain professionals with insight into trading and crypto markets.
Don't get stuck in the past. Get all the latest news and happenings on blockchain and cryptocurrency only on Crypto TV Plus.
Hello, my name is Chiki and I'm the Bull of the Bullet.
Keep watching Crypto TV Plus.
Don't touch that. Peace.
Welcome back, everyone tuning in from around the world. This is Inside Blockchain. I am Faith Ekuerhare. Now, today we'll be discussing the crypto market collapse, FTX and Binance battle. To lean in on the conversation is Lucky Wakwe, who is the founder of Sabi Groups, a certified cryptocurrency specialist, an entrepreneur, and DeFi expert. Lucky, it's nice to have you today. It's a pleasure to have you today on today's episode.
Thank you so much, Faith.
Yes, amazing. So let's get into the conversation. Did you ever imagine that CZ was, all up for buying FTX from the inception, by spreading those rumors?
No. Actually, one of the early things I remember doing, even before the news came out publicly, at least about 4 or 5 hours even before the news became a public thing, is that from the angle of business, it didn't make sense to me. So I was one of the people, or among certain class of people, who did not really see any future in the possibility of Binance buying them. It didn't make sense. The liabilities will be too much for Binance to bear, especially when Binance is pretty doing fine, according to the information by the founder. I didn't see the need or the advantage it will offer Binance buying over FTX with the kind of liabilities that FTX have, from a poor balance sheet to an aggrieved customers. So even if they were to buy them over and decide to transfer all the users to Binance, it doesn't really add value to Binance until Binance is able to pay each and every one of them their dime, or at least a substantial amount of them their dime. So it made no sense. And also, mind you, beyond that of FTX, there are some other liabilities that FTX will be owing people, like investors who have participated in various rounds for the company. Not too long ago, the company was valued in its billions. So buying over FTX, not just with the current challenge of its customers, you're also going to be responsible for the investors, the workers. The problem is just too many. It made no sense for a company like Binance, who's already leading in terms of the business of crypto exchange around the world, to buy them over. I was of that school of thought, and that was my even view, and I tweeted about it even before it became a public information.
Now, leaning on your response, CZ also said, he didn't orchestrate the whole market dump, and he even released a press, release that and a Twitter thread claiming that this was not a master plan to acquire FTX. Now, let's go to the backstory. Let's understand from you what the FTX and Binance drama, was all about.
Okay, so I believe the statement from CZ. I might not necessarily be. I'm not a representative of Binance either, but for the fact that I'm believing in his own side of the story doesn't necessarily mean I am pro Binance or pro CZ, as the case may be. I'm just being objective in my own viewpoint. I believe the fact that when he said he didn't orchestrate it, people keep putting the blame on him for the fact that he came public or he was transparent. And you don't understand why transparency in a space that ought to be transparent, or in a technology that ought to be transparent, will now be frowned at simply because ripple effect or part of the entire storyline had cascaded into a situation whereby an exchange went under. CZ is not responsible, Binance is not responsible. And I say that because if the balance book of FTX was in order, even with that level of statement, the worst thing that could have happened to FTX if they were even practicing their business right or in accordance to standard ethics or morals that would have guided any exchange would be that Binance would have dumped their $580 million worth of FTT. Remember, the first investors in FTX is Binance. Binance, having invested in them, FTX requested at one point in time during the course of their fundraise that they don't longer want to have anything to do with Binance. And in so doing, they settled Binance over $2 billion, of which some were combining in stable coins and the others were combined in FTX token. If this were clearly the thing that have happened before this recent incident of FTX, then I did not understand why FTX will now cry over anybody wanting to sell. The entire market would have decided to wake up tomorrow and decide to sell their FTT token without even Binance making that statement. During the course of bull or bear markets, people can decide to dump or accumulate. And if you were doing your business right, where people decide to dump based on input minus output, we should have at least had net zero. Net zero in the sense that you would be able to have an equal amount of stable coin or dollar that would have matched their inflow minus outflow. The only worst thing that would have happened because of such level of pressure would have just been that the price will not be favorable, but not that the price will not be favorable and you do not even have the dollars, even though the price have even dipped so low to a point that you cannot now redeem the dollar worth for the token. So clearly it shows that the business practice of FTX is faulty, unethical, and inhumane to the customers that have believed or trust in them. Now, Binance CEO, she's tweeting or posting that could be said to be a trigger, but I would refuse to go on that school of thought on the basis that FTX were the first trigger of this whole process. When I say the first trigger, I'm not even talking about the fact that they had practiced wrongly in terms of the ethical standard. I'm saying, remember, FTX, the CEO, Sam, decides to go very high and very deep into politics from the side of his supporters to the Democrats, which is okay. I'm not faulting this actually. Him paying over $150 million for an arena, the sponsorship deals in an arena, the ones in Formula One, giving as high as $50 million to political donors, or as much as you call it. If you look at the available data before this incident, he's the second highest donor to Democrats in the US when it comes to campaign giving. For somebody who went as far as doing all this, while I am not necessarily going to scold him for choosing to donate to whatever cause he's comfortable with, what I'm saying is he took the advantage of his political influence, because by virtue of his giving in the political circle, he was beginning to command certain level of political influence as well as among regulators. And there was news, remember, that the founder of Binance made a post to say that he cannot be in support, that which was even the basis of the public outcry of why Binance decided to sell. He said he cannot be in support with somebody who will go against the industry back to push for certain type of regulation that is sort of antagonistic to the collective goal or win of the entire industry. FTX unilaterally on its own, alongside with its CEO Sam, decide to take advantage of the powers that they are beginning to gather among political circle or among regulators to push for certain type of regulations that is not in the best interest of the industry completely, but rather that is primarily to the best interest of FTX, which is standard procedure when it comes to lobbying. Actually, people lobby for the sake of their own benefit. But when you lobby for the sake of your own benefit, such that you now want to take that benefit to hurt the entire industry, and by extension to hurt your biggest competitor, which in this case is Binance, then it's only fair for any healthy company who also want to stay in business to retaliate. And now, if they decide to do that by going as far as pushing for certain type of regulation that will favor FTX more and hurt its competitors, especially those who are operating outside the US, for in this instance, Binance, then why will Binance now sit down if they have a card on their table? In this case, they have a card to dump the token of FTX. Why wouldn't they use it? Anybody will use it. Just like Sam, in his own wisdom, decide to use the resources within his means to push for a course that will favor FTX as a company, even though they are practicing an unhealthy balance sheet. That's aside. Even though they are practicing an unhealthy balance sheet, him deciding to use that influence of his political strength in his own favor and hurting the entire industry in this case, just like what Shized referenced. While we might not know to what extent, but clearly Shized made a point. And if that point is meant to be true, then it's only fair for Binance to protect its own business, just like the way FTX believe that they are protecting their own business by pushing for regulation that will favor them and hurt their competitors in essence. It is okay for anybody to lobby, but it's unfair that you are lobbying to win, and not just winning and leaving it at that to accumulate customers to yourself, but lobbying to a point where you now want to antagonize other competitors. That's an unfair practice. And again, it will bring me back to a point I will make much later. That in this space, competition is okay, but competition is not okay when you decide to use your political will to clamp down on every other person. Win as much as you want to win, but you cannot be using government to hurt every other person such that you win simply because you have the power or you have the assets or because you are now one of the biggest political donors. I do not subscribe to that. And it's only right that CZ did what he had to do for the sake of his business. But if CZ had done what he had to do for the sake of his own business, and yet that impact now open up more information about what we did not even know about FTX, then I would say Shized have done the industry good. He has done the industry good because if he had not done that today, some way, somehow, sometimes in future, this same FTX would collapse and probably it would have been far more worse than what we have today. Maybe by that time, they would have been worth hundreds of billions of dollars that would have been gone, not probably less than 100 billion as we have today. So I think Caesar did the right thing by being transparent about his decision of wanting to sell, especially to his colleagues and to the rest of the world who probably believe in him. I think Caesar did the right thing by trying to protect his business, having understand that FTX had done something behind their back to favor FTX and to probably kill them in terms of their own business opportunity. While it's okay for FTX to do all of this, it is not fair that people will now say that Binance choosing to sell its own token is now the reason why we now find ourselves in this situation where FTX is no longer accessible as of today. The last I checked, the website is now down and customers' funds have been trapped. Clearly, they've mismanaged funds. Clearly, they've not been honest with their customers. Clearly, they've utilized their customers' funds for something else. Clearly, they've either overprint the amount of tokens that they have there. Clearly, they were practicing fractional reserve instead of operating 1:1 for an industry that is ought to show transparency at all times, especially with the abilities of what blockchain can do. So this is not CZ. In fact, I would rather congratulate CZ, even though I might not necessarily be a fan or representative of Binance. I'll congratulate CZ for helping purge this type of practice from a company we expect to have even done the right thing. They are like one of the top 3 or top 5 biggest exchange in the world. I do not expect that a company like FTX, with the level of standard and name they've accumulated over the years, would even practice business in this way. So CZ did the right thing, even though originally the right thing was for his business and for his own company's interest. But at the long run, it is to the best interest of the industry that we don't have such type of exchange running within our means, practicing such level of fractional reserve and utilizing their customers' funds for something else, or over minting tokens that they shouldn't have printed in the first place. So it's a good thing, if you ask me, but it's just so painful that customers and users of FTX have found themselves in a situation that no one would wish upon, even their own enemies. But from an industry perspective, it is right thing for the industry to have purged FTX or any other exchange that is practicing this type of systems.
It is really unfortunate that this is sadder and deeper than we thought it was, and it's unfortunate that the customers and the users have to be on the receiving end of such collapse. Leaning on to what you talked about, when you talked about the fractional reserves and full transparency, in one of CZ's tweets, he also said all crypto exchanges should do Merkle tree and proof of reserves, that banks run on fractional reserves, crypto exchanges should not, and Binance will start to do proof of reserves soon, that full transparency. I know you hinted a little bit about it, but what is full transparency in this situation?
Now, for an exchange to receive token means a user have one way or the other gotten, purchased, acquired, or have earned that token through one means or the other, so long as the token is acceptable in that exchange. Now, when a user deposits that money into the exchange, it means the actual token itself is existing somewhere. It's not like rocket science or something to say that it's just bank keying in numbers. You don't just key numbers into the. It's only when you have actually done the actual work that numbers appear. Now, in the process of this, exchanges have the ability to modify the numbers you see on your account when you log in. Clearly, just like with banks, exchange have the ability to do this. But the beautiful part of what exchange will not be able to do is that if we can see that the monies that I've deposited is actually sitting somewhere, moving somewhere, if you decide to even borrow or loan this money to a DeFi platform or a DeFi protocol where monies could be loaned or borrowed, at least we should be able to see that they exist somewhere. But with the case of FTX, this wasn't really true. Yes, users were able to see the actual balance, but of the truth, those balances were taken from wherever it was stored and used for something else. And this is not fair to the industry that should have been holding transparency to its highest esteem. And as such, Merkle tree would resolve this issue, where I don't need to trust or believe what is reflecting on my balance, courtesy of when I log into your account. But I can independently, as a user, look through the Merkle tree and see for the fact that the total number of what is existing in is actually true in terms of wherever they decide to store it. It's nobody's business where they can choose to store it, but we should be able to see that that money belongs to you, and it's not that you are FTX holding $20 billion, for example, and of the truth in your actual reserve you are just having barely $10 billion, and the other $10 billion is outside the control. Let's say maybe sitting in a sister company that have no business with FTX in the first place. Rumors or news out there showed or stated that part of the users' monies were given to Alameda Research Group. I see no reason why customers' monies will be used in Alameda Research Group when customers have no business with Alameda in the first place. And if they decide to give customers' money to Alameda Research Group, it is only fair for them to have stated it at one point in time to their customers or to the public, so that we'll know at least that the money that is being deposited in FTX, some or part of them, are sitting with Alameda, so that if anything happens to Alameda, we can be able to know early on, and users can now make decisions if they are comfortable with such kind of practice. But in this case, it's not. But again, you see why I had to say I will take rather, instead of joining the bandwagon who are probably condemning CZ for not standing up pedigree of where they've placed CZ. I do not even think it's healthy for anybody to be placed with that level of pedigree or responsibility in this industry. The industry is open, decentralized, and transparent enough that we shouldn't put our shoulders or rest the burden of the industry on the shoulders of one man, one individual. So I am not of that school of thought. As she said, should take responsibility for irresponsibilities in the space. Rather, everybody should be responsible one way or the other for a collective goal of the industry. And as such, Shiza did the right thing. And if he had not done what he did, we probably would not have known that FTX was practicing things that are not right. And we probably will not get to a point where we'll not be asking demands for exchanges around the world to begin to show proof that they actually have users' funds that were originally deposited with them. And in this case, the Merkle tree conversation is now becoming a thing. FTX, of course, is now the scapegoat in this case. But Binance, Poloniex, OKX, Huobi, and so many other exchanges are now calling to say they are in support of that, and they would like to show this as the way to prove that they are healthy, they are strong. It's more like our own self-regulatory kind of practice as of today in the industry. But surely it calls for every exchange to, including the ones that are within the US market, like Coinbase, Gemini. I expect them to follow suit, hopefully, for a much more healthy ecosystem.
Wow, if you're just tuning in, we're still talking about and discussing about the FTX versus Binance battle. And as much as it's a shock to you, it's also a shock to us. So we're trying to understand what this is all about and where this leads us as a community. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll be getting into the conversation and exposing more about what this situation is all about. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome to Let's Talk NFTs. On today's episode, we're going to be checking out the Silks NFTs. Silks is the first derivative play to earn that mirrors the real world of thoroughbred horse racing. When real race horses win races or breed offsprings, your NFT Silks horses will earn token rewards. Game of Silks is a skill-based play-to-earn game that promotes collaboration between racehorse owners, horse farms, and land developers to optimize rewards and offset risk in the high-stakes.
Don't get stuck in the past. Get all the latest news and happenings on blockchain and cryptocurrency only on Crypto TV Plus.
Hello, my name is Chiki and I'm the Bo of the Bull.
Keep watching Crypto TV Plus.
Don't touch that. Peace.
Hello and welcome back, everyone tuning in from around the world. This is Inside Blockchain live on Crypto TV Plus. I am Faith Ekuerhare. We have Faith Ekuerhare joining us virtually to talk about the FTX versus Binance battle that is happening right now in the crypto community, and it has been very sad and very deep and unfortunate for those people that are at the receiving end of such unfortunate crisis. Lucky, we have seen a lot of responses from the crypto community. Now, even though Kwon acknowledged CZ as the crypto king. However, how does this look in terms of the amount of power CZ has to call such big shots? And we heard the rumors at the time Terra Luna was experiencing this crash, CZ reached out to Terra company, but he claimed they were not responding. Probably he has solutions. So this begs the question, how centralized is the market turning out to be?
Interestingly, well, early advocates or early participants in the crypto space had always advocated for decentralization, but clearly there is a level of convenience that comes with centralization, and it seems like the industry is beginning to tilt towards that, where they rather want to pass the responsibility of somebody taking care of their own risk, and as such, that's why actually the exchanges even make profit in the first place. On a global perspective, looking at the volumes of performance of trades going on with centralized and decentralized exchange, the numbers are already clear that a substantial amount of that percentage within the industry happens on centralized exchange. And as such, I would use that to say it's a verdict on centralization on the part of the industry. But incidents like the ones we're discussing today with FTX, it's a good reason why people should now begin to reconsider more of why they should now go the way of decentralization. maybe I expect platform, even though this might not necessarily be a promotional offer, but I expect platforms like Uniswap, Sushi, and some other decentralized exchanges to gain new type of customers, people who would swear over their grave that having experienced the level of loss they've seen with FTX, they will never want to go back to anything that has to do with centralized exchange again. There are people who believe that even with the level of inconvenience that they might see with decentralized exchange, it is much better for them to have that control than in a moment like this, even though moments like this do not necessarily occur in the industry all the time. But in a moment like this where an exchange can go insolvent, that they would not need to depend on that exchange for anything whatsoever. And to my own viewpoint, it is important for the industry to have a balance between both. Even though I know newbies or first timers might not necessarily be confident with the methodology of how decentralized exchange would work. Clearly, the industry as of today is still centralized to a large extent. And this is my take around where the industry is going. But it's a very risky part, especially like you mentioned in your in the question, Doku, and acknowledging that Shize is king. I am never of the school of thought that people should give Shize that level of responsibility. I am never a school of thought that Shize should be acknowledged in any way as somebody who is boss in this industry. The industry is big, wide, and should be decentralized. And even Satoshi Nakamoto should not even be given that level of privilege, even though he is the one who made it possible to this day. Because clearly there were people who also had worked or tried early iterations that are not David Charms, Adam Bax, and the likes of them. I do not even encourage that they be given that level of responsibility. The danger to it will be if anything happened to Caesar tomorrow, it affects the industry. Imagine where Elon Musk selling his token, even though it was just Bitcoin, making an announcement that Tesla is selling their Bitcoin, and then the market is reacting. It's because we've grown to a point where we think that Elon Musk should be responsible for positive things that should happen to us. And we've given that responsibility of adoption to be managed or to be taken, to be controlled by the likes of Elon Musk. That's the danger of giving that level of mental or psychological responsibility, or if you want to call it true leadership to them. I am never of that school of thought. I cannot respect Binance on that basis personally. I cannot respect Shiz on that basis. I should not even respect him on the basis of him being referred to as somebody who did the biggest exchange. People did much more serious work than where we are today. The likes of Midgogs made it possible. Even the man who made it possible for us to even exchange Bitcoin or the known Bitcoin with Pisa should be given that level of responsibility. Shouldn't even be given that level of responsibility. Not to talk more of somebody who's benefiting courtesy of making profits from an industry that he met. In my own view, nobody should be given that level of responsibility. If at all, there should be responsibility given to anybody. Maybe we can say for the likes of Satoshi Nakamoto, but then I personally am not of the school of thought that anybody should be given that level of responsibility. Shiz should be respected for the sake of somebody who's willing to commit a huge amount of resources into the industry, but never from the side of, if any, he's king, he's lord, what he says stands, how he wants it will be. Nobody should be ascribed that level of responsibility simply because if he gets arrested tomorrow, if he participates in anything that is criminal, if he dies, if he gets sick, if he now say he's no longer interested in industry, all of a sudden, even people who no longer know who he is or what he stands for will be affected. Why? Because price will tend to react by virtue of that announcement. It is this level of responsibilities that I see and I most times don't ascribe to. That's why I was even very happy that Elon Musk even sold, or Tesla sold their Bitcoin. And if they even come back, people shouldn't take them seriously. And nobody should be taken seriously, whether it is the likes of Michael Saylor. All right. While I encourage that people can choose to believe and practice whatever they want to practice, responsibilities should not be given to them on the basis that they are Lord and Master. Imagine Michael Saylor making an announcement today that he now wants to sell his Bitcoin. The market tanks. The market's not tanking because Michael Saylor is selling. They are tanking because they believe if somebody like Sailor wants to sell, who am I not to join him? Then they now join suit. All right. So this level of responsibility should come with caution. And that is my greatest fear and concern for the likes of where the industry is tilting towards. I hope that another exchange can step up to the game to give Binance a run for their money. It is in the best interest of the industry that we have so many options such that it doesn't become too glaring that one becomes the overall winner with a very wide margin. I hope that the likes of, for example, Coinbase, OKX, Huobi, Poloniex, Bittrex, and Co. can step up in the process. And I also encourage users in the industry to find a way to diversify such that it doesn't become too much of a body on the part of Binance. Because if all users of FTX were to move automatically into Binance, it creates a much more wider gap, such that if tomorrow Binance, for whatever reason, goes offline, not because of them going offline because they are insolvent, but going offline from the side of website is down, hackers trying to attack them, DDoS attack, cybersecurity related issue, then all of a sudden, every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the industry will be affected. So I hope that we don't grow to that point, and nobody should even be giving Caesar that responsibility. I don't think he's fit for that. I don't think anybody's even fit for that. But however, I salute his courage, his dedication, and trying to build an industry that would change life or that will affect how business and monies are moved around the world, which is okay, but not from the side of his king, his master, what he says stands, what his views are should be final. Nobody should be given that level of responsibility. And I encourage new users, old players to do the same. I shouldn't sell because CZ wants to sell. I shouldn't buy because CZ wants to buy. I should be able to buy either as a result of seeing what the true state of the market is, or either as a result of believing in what I believe in.
Funny how this sounds like deja vu, because I still had this conversation with some of my colleagues about, how much these whales have so much power and how much they shouldn't be ascribed this level of responsibility and power, because it can affect the market negatively at any point in time. It is obvious that the market is somewhat melancholic in this period of time, but seeing how volatile the industry is, how has this saga affected other cryptocurrencies? With the price of Bitcoin, Solana, BNB fluctuating, how has this affected the cryptocurrencies we have?
Okay, sure, greatly it has affected it. Remember, again, FTX is among the top 3 biggest exchanges right now in the world, or before the incident, we're among the top 3 biggest exchanges in the world. You wouldn't have expected that the top 3 biggest exchange would collapse on this basis of unhealthy practice and not expect people not to react. Clearly, it's now a cascade, it's now a ripple effect or a cascading effect, such that even cryptos that had no relationship or business with FTX would also be affected, because everybody believes that everyone is no longer interested and they want to pull out their funds. And because they're pulling out their funds, it means I too, why am I waiting? Everybody's pulling funds. Everybody's returning or running back to fiat now. Clearly, I'm sure top advocates of fiat or promoters or within the government will be smiling now to say, we told them they will come back. So clearly everybody's running back to fiat, and as a result of this, even for local currencies that are not even performing well, right now they are performing far much better than one would expect, because of how the demand for local fiat is now so high that everybody's willing to just sell and cut their losses temporarily or momentarily. So that's part of, or one way to which the entire market have been affected, even the ones that are not necessarily related to Bitcoin. Secondly, the other way is that institutional investors who probably were looking at coming into play might probably have to rethink their strategy or approach. Thirdly, top veterans like the likes of Michael Saylor, looking at the numbers and what he has explained over time, one will begin to wonder or panic if he would crack under this. One will begin to wonder or panic if the people he had gotten the money for to acquire or accumulate some of those Bitcoins over time will be calling for his head now. Countries who, through their actions, have aided us in adoption, likes of El Salvador and what the president and the government of the people of El Salvador have done, would become a laughing stock. as it stands now, people will begin to say, we told you not to apply that. Look at the hardship you're causing to your people, courtesy of this same FTX saga. So the ripple effect is so much that it goes from the online market even out to the offline market. Looking at the investment people want to do in El Salvador, courtesy of the performance of the industry, or courtesy of how the industry is growing, some might choose to have a rethink. Some might decide to temporarily wait, pending when the situation improves. And some might decide to say, if this is how the industry is, I probably should invest my money elsewhere. These are so many things. This could also cause unrest. Imagine if part of the monies that were used for the likes of El Salvador and so many other countries that have approved cryptocurrencies like in Africa, Central African Republic. Imagine what people and opposition parties will be saying right now to the president. Not because he had made wrong move, but because he has chosen to move his country forward in the path of blockchain, adopting cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin as national tender to accompany its own original or traditional fiat, only for incidents like this to become a laughing stock or an example for them to now show the president why they think he has not been doing well, even though sometimes they may not necessarily be related. But sure, it's a good example for any opposition party to use to mock or ridicule any government who is pro-crypto, pro-blockchain, pro-Bitcoin, or pro the move towards this type of technology, which we all believe in. So the effect is far much more worse, honestly. Businesses that are accepting crypto as well as a means of payments will have to rethink. Imagine the sharp drop we experience, courtesy of this same everybody panicking to sell. What will happen to those businesses, especially the ones who are not taking necessarily stable coins? It means they automatically lost value. They sold at a loss just because they want to be pro industry, pro blockchain, pro accepting crypto as a means of payment. So the examples are sort of endless, and this was avoidable if we had an exchange like FTX that choose to practice or do things right from an ethical point of view, as somebody who's running an exchange where users deposit funds in the first place.
This is so sad. This is so sad. Just listening to you name out the things that that might happen or are happening after this goes down is so unfortunate. And let's go on another break. When we come back, we'll be looking into the future of the crypto market and also FTX. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, welcome into the metaverse on Crypto TV Plus. In today's video, we're going to be taking a portal into the Reveland metaverse. Let's do this! Developed by Chainx Games, Reveland is a blockchain-based multiplayer online battle arena MOBA game where players can gather friends to form a team, fight with others, and earn token rewards for their individual skills or team collaboration. Reveland's gameplay is designed to combine players' individual skills and teamwork to challenge themselves in a variety of game modes.
Don't get stuck in the past. Get all the latest news and happenings on blockchain and cryptocurrency only on Crypto TV Plus.
Hello, my name is Chiki and I'm the Bull of the Bullet.
Keep watching Crypto TV Plus.
Don't touch that. Peace.
Welcome back, everyone tuning in from around the world. This is Inside Blockchain Live on Crypto TV Plus. It has been a very, dicey moment, a bittersweet moment with Lucky. Today we have been discussing the Binance and FTX war and, some of the things that he has called out as the proof of this kind of collapse is really, really unfortunate. From the beginning we've talked we've discussed about how centralized the market is to how much it has affected cryptocurrency and the adoption of crypto in different places across the world. Looking through Sam Bankman's Friday tweet, it looks like business is running as usual. However, it looks like SBF is running into bankruptcy, and with the news that Binance has decided not to pursue the potential acquisition of FTX, what is the future for FTX and what is the future for cryptocurrencies at large?
I'm believing that for the industry to really progress, every user whose money are still trapped in FTX should be compensated or returned. Failure for us to achieve this would mean that this industry is not yet ripe for what we've been preaching or practicing. And I'm believing that FTX will have a bailout one way or the other. Bailout either from, let me just be a little bit sarcastic, not necessarily to ridicule the person of Sam. I'm believing that his political donors would probably find a way around, either by using their political influence to get government funding or get government support from the US to help him back stand on his feet, which I don't know how that would play out, but just as an example, for lack of one. But I'm believing, most importantly, that industry titans or industry top shot from the side of those who have the deep liquidity. We're seeing news that the Poloniex owner, Justin Sun, the creator of Tron, is showing interest in coming to acquire them. And I believe part of the acquisition should also come with the users and paying them back. So what I see for FTX is that, yes, they've gone offline from the side of the website, but one way or the other, regulators will have to compel them to pay. How they will do that is not really yet known. Users' funds might not necessarily return to them immediately. Probably it might take a couple of months, if not years. Midgard case is still standing. Users have not totally been paid completely as of today, and it's been years already. So I'm believing that the case of FTX would come with bailouts, and I'm believing that somebody within Wall Street who see the potential of what this industry can offer might decide to take it and then bail them, hopefully. But some way, somehow, they just have to come up with something. The failure for them not to come up with something would amount to either the government weighing in on them heavily with regulators, and there will be some level of settlement. Like, let me give an example. I had a case of also being affected with the situation of Tezos in 2017 after participating in their sale. The case went to court, took many years. This 2022, we got information around settlement. Between 2017 to 2022 is almost like about 4 years. All right. And the way to which we were settled with the dollar equivalence of our assets. Even though one would appreciate that they would have given me my Ethereum, because knowing fully what Ethereum is now worth more. But rather, they were comfortable with wanting to settle with the dollar equivalent of the asset at the time when the website went offline. So they might decide to tomorrow settle people with the dollar equivalence of what your asset was as at the time when they went offline. They might come back 2 years later. They might want to compensate people 3 years later, 6 months later. Maybe the industry or the crypto market had risen back to, let's say, $50,000. People will want to get their Bitcoin worth so that they can sell it for $50,000. But they might end up not wanting to do that. They might just decide to give you dollar worth. Or they might choose to give you the crypto worth, depending on which one is lighter for them. Most times when situations like this come, the person who is accused will most likely take the lighter part of which way is easier for him. They give him such kind of option. So I'm expecting that people would have to just receive the dollar worth or the crypto worth, subject to the lowest one actually, for this kind of bailouts to even happen in the first place. But from the industry side, the industry will continue to grow. This is not the first time we've seen cases like this. In fact, the only difference now would be coming from the side of dollar magnitude. Luna had just barely few months ago. Migos case at that time is the marketplace that controlled over 60% of the global crypto trade, and they went under. The market survived it. I see no reason why the market will not survive it now, especially when we have varieties and many options that are still out there. Of course, the entire crypto markets are not necessarily trading on FTX, but clearly people have been hurt, and it's just so unfortunate. And I also use this medium to say that they should stay strong. Hopefully, better things will come. At least the industries or the space is mature enough to command some level of compliance. And I think FTX, one way or the other, would have to bring the money, especially funds that they've stashed, personal wealth, personal assets, or founders might be seized or confiscated to find a way to balance or pay people. Even if not 100%, maybe at least 60 or more percent should come from the entire process. This is what I expect. The future of the industry is still bright, despite this situation. We need this level of purge for us to create or build a strong or healthy ecosystem, if you ask me. That's my take.
Thank you so much, Lucky, for joining us today. It has been an amazing time. I really can't say amazing because, you know, the situation is really unfortunate and very sad, but thank you for helping us dissect every part of this situation and helping us understand what this war is all about and where we, you know, look forward to, especially in terms of adoption and education of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology at large. Thank you so much. And that will be all on today's program. You can get more market updates and all the happenings captured within the world of blockchain and cryptocurrency on our website, cryptotvplus.com. Follow us on all our social media platforms at CryptoTVPlus to get daily info on our programs. Thank you for staying with us. I am Faith Ekuerhare. I had Lucky Uwakwe, who joined virtually. I'll see you next week.